Honest question here. Is writing difficult for you? Is it hard? Is it frustrating? Are you seeing people crank out the YouTube videos, crank out the articles? You've heard all these things about generative AI, whatever the heck that means, and you're worried about getting left behind like I was. I want to show you the most amazing tool that might have ever been invented in human history, maybe even better than the computer, maybe even better than the internet, and it's called ChatGPT. And it is the tool that you can use to create any kind of text you want and maybe even revise the text you've already written. You might have heard about it, and you might have heard also about the drawbacks where if you don't use it properly, it can generate a lot of stuff. This is a tool that you need to work with, right? You need to use this tool and say, hey, I want to write a blog post about this subject, but then go back and refine it and say, hey, can you work on this? Can you improve that? Go to chatgpt.com and you enter what's called a prompt, and then you chat back and forth like you have since the beginning of the internet, where you can have a conversation. For example, we can say, write me a 500-word article about time management and productivity. It will do that for you. Just from you saying that, it will crank out all these words. You might notice just from skimming this that it's bland, it's boring, it's obvious, but you can imagine how this is a great start for you to say, hey, here's what I can begin working on. Maybe I want to do more of this and less of that. Maybe I want to inject my own stories, but right off the bat, it still is pretty good. Imagine if we had this back in fifth grade or eighth grade when we had to write a paper, we would just have it done within seconds. This is a tool called ChatGPT. And what you can do is once this is out here, then you can go back and give it feedback and refine it until it gets to the point where you want. For example, we can say, condense this article down to just 50 words. And it will take everything it put out and it will just give you a few sentences. So now you have a social media post. This is completely original. This exact grouping of text and words does not exist anywhere on the internet. Imagine if you gave it some of your existing writing. Imagine if you gave it a huge article that you wrote and you said, hey, I want you to break this down and give me tweets for this. Give me 20 tweets for this. Give me a LinkedIn post. You could take this and you could say, draw me a helpful picture to illustrate these concepts. You give it just a few seconds and it will even create an image. Here's what it made, right? It put SMART goals, time blocking, Pomodoro technique, Eisenhower matrix, a little bit gibberishy, but you can see how there is potential here. We can go onto YouTube, and let me show you one of my favorite tricks of all time. I like to go to a video that I might want to leave a comment on, right? You must already make money. Let me find something that's 10 or 20 minutes long. That's a businessy video, not just a video that I'm watching for fun. Okay, here's one, the rise and fall of ClickFunnels. We pasted that whole transcript into ChatGPT and we said, write a thoughtful 4-sentence comment for me to leave under this YouTube video showing I understood it and recap a few of the important points and add to the discussion slightly. And it gave us this output, the mention of customization limitations. Interesting to think about this. And so we could take the output and we could either revise it ourselves by hand or give it additional feedback and just go back and forth with it until we get a final product that we're happy with. And we go and we paste it right here and we get some productivity out of this. What is this tool? What is this process? The technology finally existed. They've downloaded the entire internet, every message board post, every social media post, every blog post, every book, every video, all this content. They've loaded it up in the cloud and just gigabytes and gigabytes of information, right? They've stored it all. Plus, we now have all of the computing power to then generate new text out of thin air. Plus, they've trained it over all sorts of time to get this process to happen, where we can say, hey, I want you to write about this. It outputs all the text and all the amazing things that you previously witnessed. The way ChatGPT works is basically probabilities. I tell it to write this and it says, okay, we're going to start with the word great. And then what's the percentage that the next word is breakdown, the next word is the next word is ClickFunnels. It adds a little randomness. It says, let me start with this and let me just go through what is a likely sequence of words that will make sense, and it knows what words mean and how they're all connected. And so let's say we said this. We said, finish this sentence, peanuts, butter, and blank. What would you say? As a human, you might say peanut butter and jelly, and I might say, give me 10 possibilities, lists in order of the most likely down to less likely, peanut butter and blank. Peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter chocolate, peanut butter and banana. This is the thought process. Is it just based on possibilities? And what is the most likely sequence of words put together in order for this to make sense in terms of just a cohesive sentence, paragraph, article? And this, when I first saw this technology, it harkened me back to this idea that, let's say you were at a job interview and your prospective employer asks you a question that requires you to think. The answer that you land on doesn't really matter so much as them knowing your thought process, and so much as them knowing that you're not just going to give up, that you'll be a problem solver. And so a classic job interview question for a computer programmer is something like this. How many gas stations are in the US? Show your work and come to your best guess answer. Heck, it might give up, but if it does, we'll keep on pushing until we get something. But look at what this does. It says, according to this, there were 120,000 gas stations. I guess it already knows the answer, but okay, how about this? Pretend you didn't know this answer. How would you calculate an educated guess to answer how many gas stations are in the US? That's another problem, is we can Google almost any question and get any sort of answer, but the value for you with ChatGPT is to get an output of something that is not perhaps easily searched. Here's what I was looking for. The US has 330 million people. Reasonable starting point is that there's a gas station for every 2,000 to 3,000 people, right? So say you had a town of 50,000, 10 or 20 gas stations would make sense. And then geographic area, urban and rural, number of cars in the US, average miles driven, meaning how often do you have to then go and visit a gas station? They compare, let's say there's 10 times gas stations as McDonald's locations. And so they have shown their work. That's interesting. Just to see from start to finish, you can imagine, again, that if you were to write something, you have a few strategies. You can either take what it gives you and refine, or perhaps you could write something in parallel. You had complete and total writer's block, and you tell it to write something, and you look at what it output, and you say, okay, I wanted to write a chapter of my book about this and this, and that's what it wrote. And I'll look at that and I'll say, okay, now I'll start from scratch with somewhat of a logical starting point. And my mind was super blown in kind of my own ChatGPT journey as far as the excitement. And when this first came out, and I first started playing with it, came across a really fun, they call it a prompt. You enter a prompt here and it gives you an answer. Here's what you do is you say, write me a synopsis for a brand new original episode of fill in the blank of your favorites TV show, Twilight Zone, X-Files, Star Trek. And we say, make it completely original, but also ensure it fits in with the characters, plot, and limitations of a typical episode. And you just see what it creates. Captain Picard, USS Enterprise, time loop. And this can be fun. Like you could create an episode of Seinfeld, right? Write a synopsis for an original episode of News Radio, Friends, Seinfeld. So let's see like The Office, The Library, Book Shuffle. Jerry returns a library book that's 15 years overdue. George discovers the book he returns. Elaine has a different dilemma. And so it's already funny looking at it, and all the storylines converge at the library. And you could potentially go through and say, hey, write the first act of this, or completely redo this, or add this, or move that. It gets even more fun when you know that there is an app where it can speak to you. And I was using this once where I was trying to entertain my 4-year-old son, and you can just install the ChatGPT app on your phone. And what we can do is there is a little microphone symbol there. We can talk to it and go back and forth. Here's a fun, we can make a generator story for him. Here we go. Let me just compose my thoughts for a second and speak this out to ChatGPT. I want you to write a children's story for my 4-year-old son named Leo. Be sure to incorporate elements such as soccer balls, airplanes, helicopters, Big Bird, marble run, water table, wagon, blue car. Include fun adventures such as going to school and anything else that you think would really entertain a 4-year-old boy named Leo. Insert Leo into the story and make him the main character. We click a button to send it off. It's transcribed, it's written all of that for me, and I can just click and send. I can have it generate that. I look on my desktop here because you basically open different chat windows, clicking on this new chat icon, and you can talk on your phone and talk on the computer, and it stores all of your work in the cloud. I can click on this Leo's Big Adventure story, and then I can even click on this one button and read aloud, and also read aloud on the phone as well. If I read it aloud, I won't read the whole thing.
Sunny town lived a boy named Leo. Leo was 4 years old and loved going on fun adventures. He had a lot of favorite things like soccer balls, airplanes.
You get the idea. Leo's teacher, Big Bird, airplanes, marble run, water table, and all just in a few seconds. Amazing. We could go at this all day, but I just want to get you started, get you excited about what ChatGPT can do. And a lot of it depends on you and how you work with it back and forth and what you input it. And so a couple of final points here. I wanted to say explain the STAR framework to me because I found this especially helpful when interacting with ChatGPT. So if you want it to create something, tell it these things. Tell it the situation or the backgrounds and what your problem is, what you want it to write for you. And then say what the task is, so what the work is that's actually being done. And then what actions, maybe what step by step is happening, the result that you were expecting. And this way you are being clear in what you're giving it and where you're stuck and what you want it to come back with. And I use it literally all day, every day, even like you can scroll back here and we can see that we sometimes ask it for things like, oh, I was trying to entertain my son the other day and I said, draw a picture of a mummy. And it created this unique picture and I kept having it change it up. I have a podcast and I gave ChatGPT a full transcript of one of the episodes. And I said, hey, can you write me a post for it on LinkedIn? So that way I can just paste in a short blurb, getting people excited about the episode. I said, can you generate for me a promotional email that I could blast and send to my list? My secret trick with this is when it comes back, I say, ask me 5 multiple choice questions to refine this. And then it asks me questions and it says, hey, question 1, answer A, B, C, D, or E. And then I just say, hey, here's my answers, 1, C, 2, A. I can choose not to answer questions. Maybe I don't like any of the choices it gives me. And I say, hey, here's what I want you to do instead. Or even like for question 3, whatever the choices were, I say, I like option B and E. So use both of those. And I even joke to people, and after I created this, I said, hey, can you create an image for me to post along with LinkedIn? It creates so many amazing things. What should I have for dinner? Give me 10 choices. We don't know if we want Mexican or Italian or a salad. And I might look here and I say, okay, I like tacos. I might say 3 and I say, list me 10 ideas for tacos. I might list specific types of tacos I like, or I might say, hey, give me something off the beaten path. Give me some new recipe ideas. I was in a situation recently where I was trying to right click on a web page, and for the web page added the preventing right click code. So I said, hey, what do I paste in my Chrome browser to re-enable right click? Recently, I said, hey, my son likes this specific movie. Can you suggest some similar movies for me? I had a situation where I had a web page that did not have a green lock symbol and I needed it. And I said, hey, what's the code to get the green lock symbol back on this web page? You can upload an entire PDF or Word document or book into ChatGPT. I was narrating this book called Disruptors by Craig Copeland, and there were a few difficult to pronounce names in it. And I didn't want to read the whole book and go and find the difficult to pronounce names. So I clicked on this paperclip and I attached the PDF file. I said, look at the entire book. Which names of people are in here? List the ones difficult to pronounce. And it went and looked through the whole book and in seconds. And I said, hey, list me all the names. And it wouldn't give me enough. And I just said, list more. Here we go. And then finally, I said, list me 50 names. So I had to be specific about what I wanted. I had to say, hey, give me an output of this length. Give me a 200-word article. Make sure it covers this. Make sure it's in this structure, right? Make sure it starts with this, then says that. So you have to have a manager, editor mindset. And then I went through this and I said, can you list me 100 and try to order this in names of most difficult to pronounce to the easiest? We have this list, and then I had a much quicker time, and it saved me perhaps a day or two of work in finding all these difficult to pronounce items in this book. I use it for all sorts of tasks all day, every day. I have a client who sent in a book chapter to me for publication, and I said, give me detailed feedback about this writing. And it said, hey, all I said was this, just the 6-word prompt plus all of this pasted in. It said, here are the strengths, here are areas for improvements, here are additional thoughts, here's a conclusion. And it helped me so much to read that going in. And then I was able to just jump to the different spots and have a more, educated start as far as looking at this person's book chapter. I have this situation that perhaps is unique to me where many people email me probably once or twice per day asking to be on my podcast. And I'd love to tell each and every one, hey, yes, I would love to have you on my podcast. Here's the link. But I feel lazy just pasting the same old copy and paste to people. And so what I can do is I can have this prompt here that says this: write a thoughtful and positive email response to this email. For context, they asked if they could be a guest on my podcast. The answer is yes. And format the reply like this. I express gratitude for the opportunity. Thank them for reaching out. Express genuine interest. Mention specific aspects of the guest's work. Provide clear reasons why the guest is a good fit. Availability and scheduling. Propose it. In this exact wording, you can schedule the interview directly using this link. I have this set up where whenever an email of this type comes in, I respond with this sort of structure. And I end up writing it by hand, but more or less, I do say this. So then now, when an email like this comes in, I can just paste it. And what's also amazing about ChatGPT is it can separate the noise, right? So I can even leave all this extra stuff in here. And I can go and I can say, I want to create a guest request email reply. And then this crafts a response that is exactly what I would say if not even a little better, because it is more detailed and I probably would not have written so much. So I reply to this email and I always reply with kind of more or less the same answer, but then the details that need to be filled in are handled by ChatGPT. Here's this other email saying, hey, I'd like to suggest Lem Garcia. So I will make sure to keep the person's signature in there so that way they can address them. Oops, I don't want to hide Jeffrey. We want Angelica. And then we paste this other email in. And thank you for introducing Lem Garcia. And it talks all about the things about him. And I go and I copy this and I respond back to that email message as well. And it gets, and actually, what I keep saying this is the final thing, but I also have had a lot of fun since we're mentioning the structure of writing, right? When you look at someone's promotional email, someone's LinkedIn post, it's interesting to look at. They said this, then they said that. It's trying to accomplish that. And so what I do sometimes is I'll say, I love this post, break it down into its component structure, then build it back up, substituting personal facts you know about me, and then change the offer to apply to my webpage. Let me just show you what the heck I'm talking about here. We're going to say we see a wonderful piece of content, right? This guy, Ted McGrath, he has a really cool promotional email, right? And so we'll take his text, and we definitely don't want to plagiarize, but we'll say, he said this first, he said that next. It's amazing. He got me excited there. So we can create a new chat window and we can paste this in. And I can say, I love this promotional email. Break it down into its component structure. And then I want to direct someone to my website, which is DFY Podcast. And I'll go to this web page and I'll copy all of the text on my web page and just give ChatGPT all this raw components. So I Control A, select all this text. And so to recap, we've taken this person's promotional email that really impressed us. And I said, break it down and build it back up and then change it. And ChatGPT, it saves a history about you. When I ask about tacos for dinner and the child story, the bedtime story for my son, it remembers all of this. And so now it can just take all these raw materials and create some interesting output. And it says, hey, he identified the pain point, creates a visual scenario, social proof. And then here's what this created. Hey there, podcasting procrastinator. Remember when you said, if only I had more time, I'd start my podcast? Sounds impossible. Done for you, podcast service. And we might change this. So sometimes it does need some revising, but I might even have ChatGPT ask me about one of my podcast clients. He said, I don't know how to edit. He found our service, fast forward 30 days, did this. What's the secret? We do this. Get started now. Record your episode, watch as we edit, distribute, and promote your podcast. So amazing possibilities here. And that's not even getting into the automations, the forms, right? If you had a team, if you had employees, you could assign a task and say, hey, find this prospect on LinkedIn and find this information about them and answer these questions and supply their webpage and supply their details. And you could have someone fill in a structured form and send it in through ChatGPT and have it sort out some of these things. And it's amazing that many people are not aware of this amazing tool that does your writing for you, right? It can write emails for you. It can write reports for you. It can write blog posts for you, social media content. It can generate 100 ideas for videos. You can then say, out of these 100, here are the 10 I like, and give me 10 more just like this. And you can say, here's an existing article, rewrite it, translate it into some other language. And it's all with this free tool called chatgpt.com. And then there's a $20 a month option which is I use, and it just gives you like an even better AI model, and it gives you way better output. And I just want to make you aware of the possibilities. And we use this all the time in our work. When you create a podcast, record videos, record audios, and we put a lot of work into ChatGPT and say, hey, let's create some really compelling titles for this, right? Let's target the keywords that'll get your videos the most reach. Let's figure out some marketing materials, some tweets for this, some LinkedIn posts, and have fun with this and play around with this, because ChatGPT, as I said, as you've seen, it's the most amazing invention. It's like having a writing assistant for you. But the key is, if you've been frustrated or you heard the bad things about ChatGPT, it's from people that are not working with the tool and they're expecting it to perform miracles. You do have to go back and forth. You do have to figure out some kind of a strategy for how you're dealing with it, because you might say something like, well, create a 90-day strategy to promote my book to bestseller status. We might even say, what are 3 actions I could take every day, 5 to 10 minutes for those 90 days? And it would just take everything that it knows and it would do this: reach out to influencers, social media, communities, countdown, reviews, daily offers, podcasts, giveaway, email blast, book clubs, track your progress. And then you might say something like, let's build out the first 7 days. What exactly should I do on day 1, day 2, etc.? And it even writes the exact templates, right? You should write this. You should post that. And this is completely unique, completely original. It's an amazing tool. It's called ChatGPT. And let me know how you personally use it, how you use it to boost your creativity, simplify your tasks, come up with fresh ideas, write content, tackle problems. ChatGPT makes everything quicker and more enjoyable. Just one prompt can open up endless creative options and deliver instant solutions. So start today and let ChatGPT boost your productivity and creativity, giving you the results you need when you need them. Get started with ChatGPT today and experience an immediate boost in productivity and creativity with the results you need in real time. So go in the comments section. Let me know if you like this video, if you want more of these, if you use ChatGPT, what do you use it for, or what prompt have you tried or could you use? Smash that subscribe button, click the like button, and we'll talk to you very soon in the next video.